right. All right, all right. Welcome. Welcome to this week's live. Let's see. Wait till we get a couple people in. Grab my water. Lots to cover this week, like every week, but this week especially, there's so much going on. Hello, hello. Welcome in. Hey, hey, H-Town. Thanks for joining. Welcome. We had a couple minutes. There's so much going on here in Vegas. It's it's pretty nuts. Like there's like legit like old Vegas like mob stuff going on. It's really kind of crazy living here and seeing that, watching the news and just being around town and seeing what's going on. Kind of nuts. So it's Fremont Street. We were down Fremont last week Friday. We were down there, and it was a lot of fun, and we'll talk about that here in a second. And so welcome to this week's live. So we are Ninth Island Connection. If you're new to our channel, we are a weekly lifestyle television show. Check out our channel. You can see how you can watch our television show wherever you are. We like to do this live just to bring you guys some news, weather updates, just really what's going on in Vegas if you guys are going to be coming to town this coming weekend or in the near future, so you know what to expect. Which we can't really do with our television show because our television show isn't live. It isn't like a typical TV show. So a little bit different. So let's get right into it. Weather. So the weather is absolutely beautiful. It's still hot by a lot of people's standards, but not as hot as it does get. How bad was the flood? Yeah, Greg, it was pretty crazy. So just lots of flooding. You know, Mount Charleston. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Mount Charleston, but it's a ski resort about a half hour outside of town. It was just absolutely nuts up there. I mean, fully submerged cars. The strip was an absolute disaster because of the rain. And then there's all of the traffic because of the repaving and the construction that's going on. Just an absolute mess. The tunnels, of course, were flooded around the link. And you guys may have seen all of the videos at the link in the parking lot that gets really bad. And I just learned this week that parking lot, that tunnel entry right there, that's actually the lowest point on the strip. So all of the water that's coming down on the Las Vegas Strip is all purposely channeled down to that link parking lot area to get into that flood tunnel. Which, if you guys know, maybe you do, maybe not. There's a large homeless population that does live in those tunnels down there. So hopefully they had a heads up, because once that flooding really, really hits, it could be like up to the ceiling in the tunnel. And if you're stuck down there, I don't know what you would do. I mean, you can't swim against the current that's, the water that's flooding in to get out. So, but it was over just as fast as it came in. So not as bad as Southern California, but we did get a lot of rain. We experienced like all of the rain for a year, like the annual rainfall total in just 2 days here in Vegas. So that was pretty nuts. My trees were happy, of course. But yeah, so this week it's the complete opposite. So today, for example, it's going to be in the low 90s, full sun. Same thing tomorrow. Tomorrow's slight chance of a shower somewhere in Vegas, but nothing like last week. And that's just a shower. There's going to be a chance for a shower. And that's because of the humidity right now, because it's very humid in Vegas. People always say, oh, it's a dry heat. It's not. It's like just steamy. It's sticky outside. It's so humid. But you know what? If you're coming to Vegas this weekend, pools are going to be popping. It's going to be hundreds and low or high 90s to low hundreds, full sun. Like I said, complete opposite of last weekend. That was a complete washout. So it's going to be absolutely beautiful. Um, yeah, flooded last week, but that's all done. That's all done there. So let's get into the news. There's so much going on, guys, and feel free to comment if you guys have anything to add or specific questions. Just drop them in the comment section. If you could give us a like, I really appreciate it. Give this video a like; it'll just help us. And if you're watching, why not just give us a thumbs up, right? So Casino Royale, you guys all know Casino Royale. That's where White Castle is. Very old property. I believe it's a Best Western. That's the hotel that's attached to that. So they had submitted for approval with the FAA to build a new structure, and that has been approved. So they got approved to build a brand new building. This is Casino Royale, the Best Western. That's right there next to Harrah's. This is where White Castle is at. There's that. I think it's a Fat Tuesdays, and everybody gets those sugary drinks. And then you've got the CVS and Venetian there. So they just got approval to build a 699-foot tower, and they will be considered a skyscraper. That's going to be the tallest building on the Las Vegas Strip once it's complete. So I don't know if the casino is going away. I don't know if Best Western is going away, and this new building is going to go up there, but they got approval, which means they're serious. They applied for approval. They got approved. A 700-foot tall building is going to be built where Casino Royale is right now. Again, that's where White Castle is. That's where the space between Harrah's and Venetian. 699 feet tall. So I wonder if the CVS is going to still be there. I wonder if that McDonald's is still going to be there. That's just outside of Harrah's. I don't know what that's going to look like, but it's a very smart move because right across the street, directly across the street, is where the volcano is in front of Harrah's, and we know that that big guitar-shaped hotel is going to go up right where the volcano is. So they have to pick it up, and they got approval. It's going to be a skyscraper, and it's going to be the tallest building on the Las Vegas Strip, right there at Casino Royale. So we'll see what happens there. The South Point 400 tickets are on sale for the South Point 400. That happens at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. That's not until October 13th through 15th. It's the 13th through the 15th. The reason that I'm mentioning it now is because tickets are on sale. And if you're a NASCAR person, that event sells out. If you're not a NASCAR person and you're planning to come to Vegas that weekend of October 13th through the 15th, you better start booking your rooms now because Vegas is packed that weekend. We also have football in town, and then everything else that's already happening in Vegas. So that's why I'm talking about that right now. So let's see. So Usher has announced his final shows here in Vegas are going to be November and December. So I don't know. It's kind of funny with some of the entertainers that say, they announce their final shows. And then sometimes they just mean for the year, but they'll be back next year. Like somebody like Usher is always in town. He comes out all throughout the year. So I highly doubt that he'll just never return in all of 2024. But for what it's worth, he announced his final shows are going to be November and December. So if you're looking to see Usher here in Vegas, you better make plans before the end of the year because he said that that's it. Let's see, Ellis Island. So Ellis Island, everybody knows that's where you go for the best prime rib deal over at the Village Pub. And they've got that new front yard experience out there. That's pretty awesome. It's a great time. We love it. Whenever we stay at Horseshoe, we always walk down to Ellis Island at least once for that prime rib. The delicious beer and the front yard is so much fun, and you can walk there right there from the Strip, and it's super close to Horseshoe. So Ellis Island, I've never stayed there personally, just because I like to stay on the Strip, and you guys know that. If you watch our channel, you know that we're pretty much Caesars people, not necessarily Caesars Palace, but Caesars properties on the Strip. But I have seen videos, I've seen pictures, I know people who have stayed there. So for Formula One, I guess they thought that they need to get in on the cash that Formula One is bringing to town. They're selling for that particular weekend, if you're staying at Ellis Island and you want to watch the race, they're charging $5,000 for 3 nights and 2 tickets. I don't know about you guys, but I don't know too many people that are going to be spending $5,000 to stay at Ellis Island for 3 nights. Um, I don't know, but that's what they're doing, and that seems to be the norm. Even downtown properties, I know for sure because I've spoken to employees, management employees at several downtown properties, downtown Fremont Street. I'm not going to name who they are, but they're going to be raising their prices also to compete with the strip. Now, they know they can't compete directly with the strip because the race is not going to be downtown, it's going to be on the strip. But they know that there are going to be people that are going to come to town and want to watch the race or take part in the race weekend and are not going to spend $5,000 to stay on at Ellis Island. Now, Ellis Island, so the way that they justify it, that corner right there where I believe it's a 7-Eleven right there, and they have like some t-shirts and things that they sell there, a little t-shirt shop. That's going to be one of the turns for the race. So that's actually turn 4 for the Formula One race right there outside of Ellis Island. So that's how they're justifying charging $5,000 for 3 nights. I have to laugh when I say that because I've been to Ellis Island so many times, and they're charging $5,000 for 3 nights. But that's what they're doing in downtown Las Vegas, the Fremont Street area. They're going to be raising their prices up that weekend also to try to get some of that business. So that's that. Let's see. My Asia, which is I don't know if you guys watch my channel regularly. We did a horseshoe video that we put up a couple weeks ago, and we actually ate at My Asia. It was a new restaurant. We ate at My Asia, and we ate at Flavortown, Guy Fieri's Flavortown sports bar thing. That's right there. And My Asia had a terrible experience. I mean, the service was fine. The food was not good and way overpriced. And I don't mean, I know, it's Vegas. Obviously, I live here in Vegas, so I know what Vegas prices are. And I have paid Vegas prices and had it been worth every single penny, like Emerald Lagasse's place at MGM. We've eaten there many times. It's worth every single penny. This place Flavortown is not worth what they're charging for what you get. So anyway, that was our experience. My Asia was the same, ridiculously overpriced and just not good. I mean, it was just fine, but they shut down. So you guys won't have to experience that if you haven't been there. They lasted, I don't know, a month, maybe 6 weeks they lasted. So I'm sure a lot of people had the same experience that we had. The word got out and people just weren't going there. So they shut down already. I wonder what they're going to do there at Horseshoes or at Horseshoe. My Asia was right next to Jack Binion's. So we'll see what they put in that space, because it did take them about, I don't know, probably about 10 months to build that out and open My Asia, and then to close after about 6 weeks. Not sure what they're gonna do there. So somebody asked last week about Tapeface being over at Harrah's, and so this was interesting. So Tapeface is no longer at Harrah's. Tapeface has actually moved to MGM Grand. So not just moved properties, but moved from a Caesars property to an MGM property over there at MGM Grand. So, these guys have been they stay in town for a long time, especially like your Tapefaces. And it's nice. I guess you have to mix it up. Over there at MGM, I'm sure it's a totally different crowd than a Harrah's crowd. And a lot of people that stay at MGM stay there because it's such a big property. There's so much restaurants. There's so much bars. The casino floor is humongous. They've got the pool that people love. They have the arena with world-class entertainment. So you really stay at MGM Grand, and you don't have to leave the property. I've stayed there before and didn't leave at all. We went to the pool, we ate, we gambled, and just hung out at the property. So that's interesting to see that. And that's I forget the viewer's name that asked that question last week, but that's where Tapeface has moved. He's left Harrah's and moved over to MGM Grand. The first show is going to kick off on September 1st. So that's for Tapeface. The B-52s, and I have my notes down here, guys. That's why I keep looking down. The B-52s have extended their residency over at Venetian. They're going to be over there through April, all the way through April of 2024. They're still there now. They're actually performing this weekend. They're at the Venetian, but they announced that they're extending their show dates to April of 2024. Henry Ruggs, you guys know who Henry Ruggs is. If you don't, he was the Raiders rookie that was driving his car 156 miles per hour here in Vegas at about 3 o'clock in the morning, intoxicated, rear-ended this woman that was sitting at a red light, and her car literally just exploded in flames because of the impact. He hit her going 156 miles an hour. She was at a complete stop at a red light, didn't even see him coming. It was coming that fast, and smashed into the back of her car, killing her, of course, and her dog that were in the car. Well, he's been booked. Hey, DG, welcome. How's it? He's been booked into prison here in the state of Nevada. He was just booked last week. Now, he was sentenced to 3 to 10 years in prison. He got 3 to 10, and for that horrific. And you have to keep in mind that I'm sure he did not go out that night and say, "I'm going to go kill someone with my car." Let me rewind this for a second, guys. I'm sure it was unintentional. I don't know, so that's that. But he is in prison here in Vegas. He's been booked into prison. Let's see. So this is kind of nuts, and I wonder. It reminds me of the movie Casino, and I'll set this up. There was a scene in the movie Casino where there's a person that keeps winning on slot machines, and Robert De Niro's character comes over and says, "Hey, didn't you see that they were watching you? That they had us there, and we're playing the machines, and who wins that much on slot machines?" And turned out to be like the senator's cousin's kid or something like that. So something similar happened this weekend, in this past weekend in Vegas on Friday night. This is one person. And this was all at Caesars Properties. They didn't say which Caesars Properties. So if you guys know, if you guys have the inside scoops somehow, drop it in the comments below, because I'm very curious. But it's been a everybody's tight-lipped with this one. So somebody was here in Vegas over the weekend on Friday, won 5 jackpots on slot machines. 5 of them in just one day. Friday won 5 jackpots that totaled over $1 million. Total over $1 million, 5 jackpots in one day. The same person. So then, what does that person do? That person turns around, the same person, on Saturday, 5 more jackpots, another $1 million. So that one visitor, that's of course anonymous, won 10 jackpots in 2 days, totaling over $2 million. 5 on Friday, 5 on Saturday. How crazy is that? That's just nuts. That reminded me of the movie Casino. So I don't know, can somebody be that lucky? Can one person win 10 jackpots in 2 days and earn over $2 million just on pure random luck? DG, you have a slot channel. Is that possible? I mean, I play slots a lot. The only card game I play is Pai Gow. That's it. I might play some craps a little bit. People come to town and they want to throw dice and that stuff. But I pretty much just play slot machines and some Pai Gow poker. But 10 jackpots in 2 days, over $2 million this guy won. So I just question, if somebody's really just that lucky. I don't know. I don't know. Caesars isn't saying who the person was. Best I've done is 2 hand pays. Yeah, no, I've never had a hand pay on a slot machine. The most that I've won at one time, I won $1,500 playing a Buffalo machine at Planet Hollywood. But I will say the same day, earlier that day, I was at MGM and I won $1,200 playing Buffalo also. Um, but that's really the most that I've won. I've won 700, $1,000 here and there, but 10 jackpots, 10 jackpots totaling over $2 million in 2 days, one person. That's crazy. That is just nuts. Like I just picture like this person being in a back room somewhere. Robert De Niro's there with a hammer saying, "Show me how you did it. Show me how you did it. Or I'm gonna smash your hands." Um, 3,200. Oh, nice! Congratulations. The machines are going to be tight. You know what's interesting about that, Greg? This past weekend, the casinos were jam packed this weekend because it was just monsoon. It was raining all day, every day, like flooding. So everyone was in the casinos. We were down on Fremont Street last week, Friday, and when it started coming down, like it just came down. It wasn't like a sprinkle to kind of give you a heads up to get that it's going to rain. It just started pouring like torrential rain. And everybody right there on Fremont Street, everybody right there ran into the casinos. And my wife and I, we were like, "Oh, the casinos are going to win this weekend. They're going to win big." With all because everybody's gambling. There was, all the pools were shut down, no outdoor concerts, no day clubs at pools. All of that stuff was canceled. So everybody was inside gambling. And I don't know. One person won $2 million, 10 jackpots in 2 days. That's crazy. All right, let's talk about Vanderpump. So I don't know if any of you guys are fans of Vanderpump. From what I understand, there's a TV show, or there was a TV show. I don't know. I don't watch that, like Housewives, and I actually only reality television that I watch is Storage Wars, because I'm a nerd when they find those old things in the lockers there. I watch Storage Wars and Jersey Shore. That's it. That's all that I watch for reality. I don't know. Who knows if it's scripted, but I don't watch the Vanderpump and all that. But there's another Vanderpump coming to Vegas, and it's going to be over at Flamingo. That's already been announced. And my guess is that it's going to go where the buffet was. That's really the only space, large enough space based on the other venues. They've got the one at Caesar's Palace, and there's the one at Paris, and they're pretty big. So as far as Flamingo, I think the only space that makes sense is going to be where the buffet used to be. Another Vanderpump. So we have Vanderpump is taking over Vegas. Bobby Flay is everywhere. Buddy V's is everywhere. And Gordon Ramsay is everywhere. So I don't know. I don't know. I kind of like the Flamingo, how it is. And from what I've seen at the Vanderpumps at Caesar's Palace and over at Paris, I love Flamingo. I'm actually staying there next week. We have friends in town that are going to be visiting, so going to be heading over there. Love the Flamingo property. I feel like the Flamingo guests are not the target audience for Vanderpump, and that's no offense. I mean, like, no offense to anyone. I just don't think the Flamingo clientele is the Vanderpump clientele. That's it. So I don't know. I don't know what they're trying to do with Flamingo by bringing in a Vanderpump. They've already got the high-end steakhouse there, Bugsy and Myers, and that's not very busy either, even on a Friday and Saturday night. So I don't know. Anyhow, that's going on there. So let's talk about the Rio. The Rio, you guys, I've talked about this before, how it's a dump. Right? There's no way to sugarcoat it. The Rio is an absolute dump. It used to be really nice. I remember when I was first coming to Vegas way back in the day, we used to stand in line for an hour over at the Rio for the seafood buffet over there. And they had that big show in the, on the ceiling in there, the masquerade show or whatever they called it. And it used to be busy and nice. And now it's a dump, right? If you guys have been there, like, it smells moldy. Half the elevators are always broken. The escalators are always broken. It's completely empty. That's the only casino that I've ever been to. And I did talk about this before, and I did get some hate. And when I didn't say it was anything negative, I just questioned the reason. If you've been to the Rio, you will notice that the Rio is the only property, at least that I've ever seen, everywhere that I've been in Vegas and Laughlin, Nevada, because we go to Laughlin quite a bit and gamble down there and spend time down there. Been to Green Valley Ranch. I've been off strip, so South Point, Green Valley Ranch. Um, let's see, Sunset Stations that we've been to and gambled, Samstown. The Rio is the only property that I've ever seen male cocktail servers. Majority, it's men as cocktail servers over at the Rio. Um, is that because women just don't want to work there because they know they're not going to get any tips? Or is it because of Chippendales being over there? I don't know. I don't know what it is. I thought it was not that, I'm all about equal opportunity for everyone. I just thought it was interesting that the place is a dump. It's always empty. It stinks. It's broken. It's falling apart. And they're the only place that has male cocktail servers. And that's over at the Rio. So the reason I'm bringing this up, because I always talk about the Rio, I don't know why anybody stays there. It's mostly foreigners that you see there, and they probably see like online deals, like $8 rooms and that kind of crazy stuff. They don't live in this country. They don't come to Vegas regularly. So they probably see these online deals crazy because they do have big rooms, right? They have suites, and they have these big rooms, and you can get them for $8. Why not, right? Probably see that online. They don't know until they get here. Well, somebody commented on our video, the video that I did here, pros and cons of the Rio. We did all that pros and cons series. Pros and cons of staying at the Rio. Someone commented, and I wrote his name down. For sale by MB was the viewer of the channel, and he commented on the video that he's in Vegas for 3 weeks, checked into the Rio, checked out the very next day, and it was looking for somewhere else to stay for the rest of the 3 weeks here in Vegas. That's how bad it was. One night he spent and got the heck out of there and booking somewhere else on the strip. So, but they do have a new company that has come in, and they vow they're going to invest like $100 million or something to clean it up. That property needs so much work, though. I don't know how far they're going to go with just $100 million. I say just $100 million like it's nothing, right? But when you look at these properties on and around the strip that are hundreds of millions of dollars, high hundreds of millions of dollars to build from the ground up. The Rio, I feel like, is in that situation. Like, I don't know that you're going to put $100 million in and go beyond, renovating the rooms, fixing the elevator, or replacing every elevator, replace every escalator, try to get some decent restaurants to come in. I don't know that $100 million can really go that far. I mean, you have to start even with the parking lot and the feral cat community that lives all around the property and the parking lot. I don't know, but they're going to put $100 million, and that's supposed to start in December. So, excuse me. After that is done, I'm definitely going to go check it out because I'm curious to see what $100 million can do to renovate a property as massive as the Rio, and in dire need. Like they are in need of help. So let's see. So if you guys are going to be in town anytime between now and November, like middle of November, when Formula One is, and I say this every week because every week there's something else going on. I talked about this a little bit last week, that there were rumors about rideshare drivers avoiding the strip, just avoiding Las Vegas Boulevard altogether, which is, really hurts because so much people use rideshare to and from the airport and to take those short trips around the strip. There's so much construction, the repaving, the construction that's happening on and around for Formula One. There's so much that rideshare drivers, and I saw this on the news just last night. It was on the local news here in Vegas, that rideshare drivers are actively avoiding the strip altogether. So what does that mean? If you're going to be coming to town, flying in, you're going to be waiting at the airport. You're going to be waiting. You're going to pay more. It's going to take you longer to get to different places. So that's where utilizing like the tram from Bellagio to Park MGM, the monorail even that runs on the Caesar side, right? Or the Koval side to Westgate, or all the way to Sahara, sorry. all the way from Sahara to MGM, utilizing that. Maybe even the bus. You could do like I think like an all-day bus pass for like $8 or something like that. That's going to be a smarter way, or just good old-fashioned just foot patrol, as we used to call it when I was a kid. And you didn't have a car, you were on foot patrol. So it's going to be a mess. So I just say, be patient. Those rideshare drivers, taxi drivers, they don't want to be sitting there waiting either. That's why they're avoiding the strip, because they're not making any money. It's taking so long to get around the strip that the rideshare drivers are just not making money. So they're avoiding it altogether. So that's the current situation there as far as traffic. It's an absolute mess. And just expect to be waiting wherever you go. So let's see. So Resorts World, Las Vegas, more trouble for those guys. I've talked about the property. I talk about Resorts World a lot. It's an absolutely beautiful property, but people are just not going there. People are just not going to Resorts World. And that's because I think, in my opinion, there's nothing around it. There's just really nothing around Resorts World Las Vegas. So people just don't go. You never hear about anybody winning big at Resorts World like you hear with Caesars, properties on the strip, or other strip properties, I should just say. Other strip properties you hear all the time, especially if you live here, people holding those big checks, winning at the different properties on the strip. You never see that at Resorts World because people don't win. People don't win there because the casino is empty. You can go there on a Saturday, holiday weekend, 6 o'clock, and it looks like a Sunday morning at 7 o'clock in the morning. It's just empty. There's no energy there. So now, this was just announced. The president of Resorts World, Scott Sabella, and you guys look this up, do your own due diligence. Scott Sabella is actively being investigated right now by the federal government. This is the president of Resorts World Las Vegas. Active federal investigation. For what? Corruption, working with bookies, manipulating sports books, working with illegal online gambling websites, just all kinds of just bad stuff that is going on over at Resorts World. And, if you're a high roller, you get people, there's some local people here that, like Vegas Matt. I don't know if you guys watch Vegas Matt, but I watch his TikToks, and he'll be at a slot machine at the M Resort and say, "Well, I'm in to this slot machine, $15,000, or I've got $20,000. I'm going to go play, go play slots and all that stuff." Would you do that if you're a high roller and you have that kind of budget? Are you going to do that at Resorts World Las Vegas, where nobody wins and the president is being investigated for corruption by the federal government? Probably not, and that's just another thing. I mean, they're losing so much money. It's just ridiculous. So who knows what's going to happen there. At the same time, though, it's such a beautiful property, totally worth just checking it out, walking around, and just seeing it. What you're going to see is a lot of empty space on the casino floor. You're not going to see a lot of people gambling. The mall area, which is absolutely beautiful, half of the shops are not even open. They're just empty storefronts. It's even one of the stops for Elon Musk underground people mover system. That's an active spot. At Resorts World, you can go downstairs and catch the lift, or excuse me, the Teslas down there in the underground people mover, and go, to some of the other places on the strip. So So anyway, that's the situation over at Resorts World. So on the positive side, depending on where you're watching from and how you feel about this, the Oakland A's have officially hired a construction company to build a ballpark here in Vegas on the Strip. That transaction has already happened. They've officially hired a contractor and a management team to manage the construction, the build out of a brand new Major League Baseball stadium here in Vegas. So the governor has already, the money from the state of Nevada has already been set aside. That's already been allocated. And the governor said Vegas will have a Major League Baseball team. If it's not the A's, then it will be an expansion team. The state of Nevada is very aggressive and invested in having a Major League Baseball team here in Vegas, whether it's the Oakland A's relocating or an expansion team. The dollars from the state are already there backing this project. So the Oakland A's paying out of pocket their own money to hire a team to build out. That's a pretty good indicator that the A's are moving to Vegas with a brand new ballpark there on the Strip. So, and if you guys watch the channel regularly, I have mentioned this before. In all of 2022, the revenue for the state of Nevada, which mainly Vegas is the cash register of the state. We all know that. Only 37% of the revenue in Vegas from 2022 was from gaming. 63% of the revenue coming into Vegas in 2022 was from entertainment, sports, dining, everything else other than gambling. That's huge. So the state, they see that. They can see it in the numbers. They can see it in the dollars that are coming in. They know where every single dollar is coming from. They understand that Vegas is a sports town. It is a sports town. Yes, people do gamble, but if I'm going to go spend $600, pretty much it's $1,000 day if you're going to a Raiders game, right? When you factor in $300 tickets plus the fees and all that, food, beverage, it's $1,000 day, right? So if you're coming in for that, are you also going to spend $1,000, $2,000 gambling? Probably not. If you're the average gambler like myself, most of my budget for that trip is going to be at the football game, right? Because that's what I'm coming in for. Will I gamble a little bit here and there? Absolutely. But they're not like if you're coming to Vegas just to gamble, right? Then 100% of your budget is just going to gambling, So like I said, the state sees that, and that's going to happen. Major League Baseball will be here in Nevada. All right, so let's talk about some of the big shows that are going to be in town this weekend. If you're going to be in town, this is what's going on in addition to everything else, right? And there's a lot going on. Beyonce is going to be here the 25th and the 26th. That's going to be at Allegiant Stadium. That's completely sold out, and it's going to be nuts over on that end of the Strip. Allegiant is over there by Mandalay Bay. You actually could stay at Mandalay Bay and walk over the bridge there, over the highway, right to Allegiant Stadium, which you probably will have a lot of people doing that also. So that's going to be more road closures, increase in traffic, and it's just going to be absolutely nuts around Mandalay Bay, Luxor, Excalibur, New York, even Park MGM. That's all going to be nuts this weekend. Illuminarium, if you don't have a Beyonce budget, I'm not, I've heard Beyonce before. I wouldn't say that I'm a fan. I don't have a Beyonce budget just because that's not my thing. But if you are a Beyonce fan, but you don't have a Beyonce Allegiant Stadium budget, Illuminarium over at Area 15, which is an immersive experience there, they're going to be having Beyonce nights on the 25th and 26th. Not exactly sure what that means, but they're going to have Beyonce nights on Friday and Saturday, 25th and 26th, starting at 8:30 p.m. And I'm sure it's going to be a lot less than going to Allegiant Stadium to watch that concert. Bruno Mars is going to be over at Dolby Theater on the 27th. The Dolby Theater, that's the theater inside of Park MGM, which is a great venue for music. And I've said this many times. Whenever I talk about anybody being there, I always say the same thing because it's true. I've been to many concerts at the Dolby Theater, and there's not a bad seat in the house there. So Bruno Mars is going to be there. So now you've got Beyonce in town this weekend. You've got Bruno Mars in town this weekend, and that's all on that side of the Strip, right? Because you've got Park MGM, and then Allegiant Stadium is right over at Mandalay Bay on that side. So that side is going to be nuts this weekend. Jim Gaffigan, who is hilarious. I love Jim Gaffigan. He's my favorite. I guess he's considered a clean comedian because he doesn't swear. Just absolutely hilarious. He's going to be over at the Wynn on the 25th and 26th. Eddie Griffin is in town. He's hilarious also. He's going to be over at the Saks Theater, and that's over at Planet Hollywood. So lots of entertainment in town this weekend. He's going to be over there on the 26th. The B-52s are going to be in town this weekend also. They're going to be at the Venetian on the 25th and 26th. And you're also going to have Stained in town. Look up Mud Shovel if you guys don't remember who Stained is. They had a massive couple of big hits back in the day. They're going to be in town over at Planet Hollywood. That's going to be at the Backed Theater. The Backed Theater used to be the Zappos Theater, and that's another one just like the Dolby Theater at Park MGM, where there's just not a bad seat in the house. And this is from experience. I've been to many concerts there at that particular theater, the Backed Theater, and there's not a bad seat in the house. It's a great little music venue. So don't worry about spending big if you're thinking about a last minute show or something like that. While you're here, don't worry about spending big at that theater either. So, all right, guys, that's a wrap on this one. Went a little bit long. This one was about 40 minutes. I typically try to keep it down to about 30. But thank you so much, guys, for tuning in, for supporting our channel. We appreciate each and every one of you. And, comment on our videos. If you have questions, hit me up on Ninth Island Connection Instagram. I personally manage all of our social media accounts, and I'm communicating with you guys. If you guys have questions and you message through Ninth Island Connection, that's me that's responding. Feel free to hit us up. I'm more than happy to answer what I can, help you guys with your trips here in Vegas. And please remember, anything that I mention on these lives or even our other YouTube channels, we're not paid by anybody to do anything that we do. So our recommendations and what we discuss on our channel are purely based on our experiences. That's where all of this comes from and what we choose to share with you guys. Thank you guys so much for supporting us. I appreciate you guys so much. Next week's live is going to be a little bit special. We're going to be on the Strip next week, Wednesday, for the live. There's a 10 times tier credit multiplier happening for Caesars Rewards next week. We're shooting to hit Diamond again for 2024 so that we can keep getting free rooms and the other stuff that comes along with it. If you guys are in town next week, if you guys see us, please feel free to say hello. We'd love to meet you guys. Carlos, of course, will be with us, so you can see Carlos and if he's out with us. So, hey, H-Town, thumbs up. Thanks so much for tuning in. Appreciate you guys. That's it, guys. We'll see you guys next time.